day this will get resolved. Here's an opportunity to resolve it. Let's go. Let's turn the page.
And one day when it gets resolved, does the price, in your opinion, is that when it just blows up?
100%, because then institutions and sovereign wealth funds will put in a 50 to 300 basis point allocation. They've already indicated they want to do that. And all of a sudden you have a real market that's liquid with a lot of fundamental demand. When it trades above a 3% allocation, there'll be sellers. When it goes below, there'll be buyers. And you'll have a lot of liquidity and volume. And finally, we can resolve this ridiculous issue. Listen, I applaud the original founders of this nascent industry over a decade ago. The Kryptonians or the crypto cowboys, whatever you want to call them. But they represent a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of invested capital globally. They are nothing burgers. And at the end of the day, we're never going to get anywhere until we get the real money behind crypto. The only way you're going to do that is stop fighting with the regulator.
Kevin O'Leary believes that the crypto market is going to go absolutely nowhere until the lawsuits and fighting between regulators and cryptocurrency exchanges such as Coinbase and Binance finally comes to a halt. Recently, the entire cryptocurrency market has been experiencing substantial volatility, more so than normal. This instability primarily stems from legal actions initiated by the SEC and US regulators against Binance and Coinbase, the two leading cryptocurrency exchanges globally. The authorities claim that Coinbase has been involved in unregistered securities trading, implying they've been selling cryptocurrencies without the necessary permissions. Binance faces even more serious charges, including allegations of money laundering, fraudulent practices, and trading unregistered securities. These lawsuits are particularly aimed at CEO CZ and the Binance company. In light of these grave charges, global banks have begun to sever ties with Binance, Coinbase, and general cryptocurrency transactions. This has disrupted the primary channels of entering and exiting the crypto market, adversely impacting cryptocurrency prices and leading to anxiety over potential future fallout. Kevin O'Leary, who is one person who has notoriously made some misguided predictions on the crypto industry, recently spoke on the unfolding situation. In his most recent interview, O'Leary expressed his thoughts on the legal battles facing both Binance and Coinbase and why he thinks it's actually going to turn out to be a good thing for the industry. Here's exactly what he had to say.
I'm actually happy this is happening. This is a good outcome in a stalemate that's lasted over 3 years and stalled out the entire crypto industry. You can look at any index you wish, but probably the one that most people look at is the price of Bitcoin. Stalled up between 25 and 30,000. It's never going to go up for one singular reason. There is absolutely zero institutional interest in this asset. And there never will be while there are crypto wars going on between the regulator and the centralized and decentralized support services. And so you look at what's going on with Binance, that's a whole different set of charges and allegations. And then, of course, Coinbase, which has been bashing its head against the SEC 3 different rounds. It's time to stop doing this. I think the industry needs resolution. And frankly, I'm happy it's happening. I have my own personal ideas on how to accelerate this, but this is a good outcome. It's time. The bottom line is this. The SEC is crystal clear on how they feel about crypto. They're allowing about 200 different tokens there in that platform, and they consider them securities. And the CEO of Coinbase does not. Now, you can be Don Quixote forever. You can fight the windmills forever. You can take the leadership charge and say, I'm going to change the mind of the SEC and its staff. Or you can wake up and smell the roses and deal in reality. If I were a shareholder of Coinbase, I'd fire him. I'd get new leadership. He's done as far as I'm concerned. This isn't working. They've wiped out a majority of the market cap of the company since it's gone public. I think the winds of change are going to blow through that boardroom. I think you have to wake up and realize Gensler is crystal clear on what he wants. He wants to have Bitcoin as a security. If it provides any kind of yield, that's a dividend. If it goes up and you sell it, you pay capital gains. If it goes down, you have capital losses. The same with all the other tokens. If you have a stable coin and you get some kind of interest, well, that's interest, and you're going to pay income tax on it. I think it's really clear what they want, and I think I'd rather have that resolved. New leadership should go in there, and look, this is a personal opinion, don't shoot the messenger. This is how I feel about it, and if I were on the board, I'd definitely let my voice be heard. Go in there, work out a deal, and obviously they think it's a security. What's so wrong with that? You could get $1 trillion worth of institutional interest if you could finally get a resolution on this. Meanwhile, back at the farm, crypto's going nowhere, and the value of the Coinbase equity continues to decline. It's so obvious. And by the way, it's also getting really boring. I've seen this story so many times over so many years. Enough. Let's resolve this and let's move on as an industry. Let's turn the page. Out with the old, in with the new. Now, if that means we have to change management in places like Binance and Coinbase, who cares? You've got the whole industry here to move forward on. There's lots of potential, a lot of technology, a lot of interesting ideas being put forward, but it's going to go nowhere while everybody's at war with the regulator. I think it's come to a head now. I actually own a bunch of them, but not in the US because I cannot own anything. I have an account at Coinbase. I've almost stripped it clean. So I don't want anything in there while they're at war with Gensler. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So I hold mine under the OSC permit or the regulation in Canada. You can also do it in London, Switzerland, Abu Dhabi. There are places where you can own these actual tokens and be compliant. I choose to do Canada because they're under the auspices of the OSC, the Ontario Securities Commission, which is constant dialogue with the SEC. The opportunity right now, in my view, is to simply say, okay, the leadership in terms of accounts is Coinbase. Let's hire somebody else that doesn't want to go to war. I mean, you've got to commend Brian for what he's built. He's a pioneer, but he's got so many arrows in his back that he's destroying value. Let him be the chairman or something. I don't care. But get someone else that Gensler and the staff can negotiate with and get a deal done and call these securities what they are, securities. And then you can have trillions of dollars come into this market that's been waiting for this asset class. I want that. I'm owning Bitcoin stuck between 23 and 30,000, knowing that one day this will get resolved. Here's an opportunity to resolve it. Let's go. I read the charges. Those are serious allegations, including cross-pollination of accounts capital. I mean, you've seen this movie. It was called FTX just a few months ago. That BNB token is $50 billion market cap, and 10 accounts are 50% of the assets. If any one of those guys want to sell, it's FTX Part 2. I mean, you've got to know right now, billions of dollars are if I had an account at Binance, I would be exiting Dodge immediately.
Yeah,
and they're trying to freeze the assets in the US. That's what you do in. These are allegations to be proven in court. I mean, when you see a charge like that and you're an institutional investor, you don't stick around for the second part. You exit, you leave, you find another place to put your assets while it gets resolved. Because if you're a sovereign wealth fund, let's just speculate. I don't think this is the case, but let's say you're a wealthy individual in a jurisdiction like Zurich or in London, England, and you see those allegations from the largest regulator on earth that has unlimited resources to pursue them. Why would you even wait? You take your capital out. And these tokens that were the downfall of FTX, the FTT token, what's the difference between FTT and BNB today? Does CZ really have $54 billion of cash? I don't know. But if he doesn't, you're at huge risk. They'll go to zero like FTX did. Nobody knows. It's sheer speculation. But there's no transparency in ownership. You don't know who owns those wallets. And that's what the SEC is saying on the Know Your Client regulations. I think he's in a world of hurt. I don't know where he's going to hide. And every regulator will starve him from oxygen. They don't want to do business with somebody that's being charged with these allegations at the regulator level. There's no good news there. I actually have compassion for him today. I feel sorry for him today. He is a great entrepreneur that perhaps didn't read the room. He didn't read the tea leaves, all of those analogies. He had to know this was coming. There was a constant buzz of regulators concerned. Remember the reason that Sam Bankman-Fried bought back his equity from CZ for $2.1 billion was CZ would not disclose anything to regulators anywhere in the world, and FTX could never get a license because he had 20% ownership on their balance sheet. And that was a great move when those two went to war with each other. CZ bankrupt, that's the allegation that came out in the charges during the hearings on the Hill with the Senate Banking Committee last December. And that was the beginning of CZ's problems. All of a sudden, every senator wakes up. They're starting to get tired of all of these allegations and every 6 months having more crypto hearings when the next exchange blows up and goes to zero and $2 or $3 or $4 billion is evaporated. So you've lost all of that political support. How can you be surprised that Gensler is not going after him? And how can he be surprised? But this will not end well for him. And I think the real investment thesis that I'm going to make now, I'm going to start investing in regulated exchanges that have been so far unprofitable because they were competing against a behemoth in Binance that had no rules attached to it. It's the most profitable business in the world to be able to issue tokens anytime, anywhere, at any price you want, and have no regulator scrutinizing them. That's exactly what he was doing. Now, it's a different story. In a matter of a single day, that world has changed for him, and I say the regulators start to starve him of oxygen. And so maybe it's time to buy that regulated exchange in Abu Dhabi. Maybe I buy more of the Canadian regulated exchange. What about that one in London I was looking at? They're all interesting to me because the accounts will slowly leave Binance and go to where they're regulated.
So there's Kevin O'Leary's perspective on the ongoing battles between cryptocurrency exchanges like Coinbase and Binance and regulators. As he asserts it, the crypto market is at a standstill until these lawsuits and disputes are resolved. Kevin O'Leary believes that on a long enough timeline, this could turn out to be a potential positive for the industry despite the ongoing legal strife. As a man known for his controversial takes on the crypto industry, his insights are well worth considering. We hope you've found this video informative and it's given you a fresh perspective on the crypto industry's current legal battles. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know if you agree with O'Leary's viewpoint. Is this potentially a turning point for the better? Or do you see these regulatory actions causing more harm than good? Anyway, thanks for tuning in and remember to subscribe for more content like this. Until next time, stay safe and keep exploring.